Morphe has released a series of brand new eyeshadow palettes, and they're literally all over social media. People are drooling over the color stories and the formulas plus the price points. And I'm gonna be real honest, because I don't know how else to be. I'm always as transparent as possible. I have not found any Morphe product to be exciting in years, and recently in the month of May, Ipsy featured this palette by Morphe in the BoxyCharm box. I ended up selecting it as a choice item for my paid box, and I really liked it. The color story was nice, the formulas were nice, and in that moment I was like, okay, so I found one Morphe item that I actually like. Well, here's the thing, I went to Ulta and decided to get one of them just so that we can give it a try. And if I don't like it, I'm going to tell you. So in this video, we're gonna try one of the Morphe Chroma palettes, and I'm gonna give you first impressions. The palette color story is gonna look like this. When you go into Ulta, it's almost like they're setting you up, because as soon as I walked in, at least in my Ulta, they had all the Morphe product. Some of the stuff did look a little exciting, especially the palettes, which is why I grabbed it. The palette is gonna look like so. I ended up getting, I don't know, I had to look at the back. This one is called Cyber Chrome. The packaging is nice, and this is the color story that I went with. They have 6 different color stories you can choose from, and girl, I love the price point, $15. What? They also have another one. It actually features 12 pans, beautiful color stories. Those go for $21. I ended up going for the $15 one. I figured if I hate it, it's not that serious. It was only $15. It's not that many shadows that go to waste. If I love it, I might end up going and getting one of the $21 eyeshadow palettes. Unless you guys really want me to go check it out, I will run to Ulta and pick up one of the bigger palettes. The Cyber Chrome palette features a beautiful cool toned color story. In store, they swatched beautifully, and when I was checking out, the representative thought I was being weird. In front of her, I opened up the palette. I wanted to make sure that it was not broken or falling apart. If you've been with me for a while, you've seen me open a brand new palette and a whole pan come out. I told her I'm gonna review this, and I want to make sure that I'm giving it the best shot. The last thing I want is to open the palette, a pan come out, and then I look like the bad guy because I'm automatically giving it a bad review. But look, the pans are intact. I love the packaging on the outside, and I love how compact it is. Now, I swatched it in store, and they swatched really nice. I think what got me the most were the shimmers. Here are the mattes. Super pigmented, very cool tone. I was gonna get either this one or one other palette that was a little more on the plummy side, but I was like, no, I'll just get a cool tone because I love these 2 shades. The shimmers you can use on their own, but I feel like they would work beautifully more as toppers because it transforms the eye, but look how pretty that is. One of them is more of a duochrome, so if you do the tap, you can just add some mild shimmer. The more you tap, the more you get out of it. And those are the 2 shimmers, and then there is a frost. The frost is a very pretty baby pink. We're gonna prep the lid as always. I know it's Morphe and I always have something to say, but I do want to give it a really good try. I'm going to do what I do with every other eyeshadow palette review. I am going to give it the best shot possible. I'm going in with my Level Up primer that I created with Gerard Cosmetics because it has been the best primer in a really long time. I'm pressing it in with a brush because I find that with a brush, you're not picking up a lot of the product, and I do want to have most of the product on here. Can you use a sponge? Absolutely. It's really about personal preference. All right, so we have laid our primer. And girl, I made sure I cleaned up all my brushes because I want to make sure that we have options for this palette. I'm actually kind of excited, which is weird when it comes to me and anything Morphe. Like, what? All right, so I'm going to use some of my best brushes, the Refer 15. I'm gonna dip into this gray stone shade. Make sure I'm saturating the brush complete. I love that it comes with a mirror as well. We're gonna tap her out. I actually like the size of this mirror. I am going to apply that directly on the crease, so on the crease and above. I was very curious. As soon as I walked into Ulta, like, this was not my thought process. I was not going over there specifically to pick up a Morphe palette. Literally the last thing on my list ever. But so many people have been talking about Morphe in a positive light, and even Jen Love, which I absolutely love. I love her in-depth deep dives and all of that, and I love how honest she is about everything. She has a Substack and it popped up on my YouTube feed. I was checking it out, and of course she caught my attention because the title of the topic was Morphe's Not Dead Inside the Rebuild. And here's the thing. First of all, that looks so pretty already. So my thought process on Morphe is it was exciting until it was not. And I think all brands deserve a second chance, which is why after trying this palette and I was like, oh, was I wrong? Are things different now? Are things better than they have been in the past few years? I decided to grab this, and this is exciting. The packaging is exciting. The color story is different and exciting. So I do think that brands deserve a second chance, and can they come back? Absolutely. And so we're giving it another chance. I'm gonna follow up with this other, these are all like beautiful gray tones, different levels of gray. I'm gonna tap out, same brush. I'm gonna apply this on the lower crease portion of the eye. Now, just because I ran out and bought this eyeshadow palette doesn't mean that I've been wrong all along and I eat my words and I'm sorry. Well, I am sorry I didn't give them enough of a chance before, in a sense, but I don't eat my words. Things weren't as exciting as this right here, at least not to me. So I'm going to focus whatever's left on that inner corner here. And I want to make sure that I leave that center nice and blank. I'm not going to deepen that. I feel like we're going to go in with one of the shimmers on that area. Okay, so far I've worked with a medium light shade and a darker shade. We have zero fallout. Everything is blending really well. The fact that this palette is only $15. Now I'm going to go in with a finer brush, another brand that I absolutely love. This is the Angie Hot and Flashy collab with BK Beauty. This is their A502. I'm gonna dip that into the deeper, you might think it's a brown, this baby's not brown. It is definitely a deeper matte gray, very cool tone. And that I will focus at first on the outer corner, inner corner, but I'm not blending, I'm pretty much just tapping. This better work out because it's looking good so far. I want to make sure it's nice and deep in this area and here. Same thing on the other eyeball. Now, is performance gonna vary depending on the primer that you have? Girl, I don't know. I can test the formulas out with a different primer and see, but I always go with the primer that I rely on for literally all formulas. So now this makes me kind of want to go and pick up the berry toned one. It was really nice. With a very clean, fluffy brush, this is my Ofra 21. I'm going to kind of go back and forth on the outer crease area. I want to make sure this is nice and diffused. And then with a smaller brush, this is an Alter Ego 201. I'm going to go back into that deep gray shade again. Tap out and bring some of that along that crease. Now I am who I am, so I like to provide a lift onto the eye, so I pull out. And you always want to go back and forth and make sure that everything is properly blended, because you want a good gradient. Let's do the same thing on the other eyeball. And now the moment of truth. I'm debating, do I go silver or do I use this chrome that has a shift to it? I kind of want to go silver and see what that looks like. So I'm going to tap that on the center of the eyeball. I was wondering whether or not this would show up on its own or if I was going to have to kind of go in with more primer or glitter glue in order for it to stick. But look, I mean, that was easy. So quick swirl and then tap that on the eye. With the teeny tiny brush, I'm going to go into that deeper gray really quickly and drag some of that close to the lash line just to kind of add a little something, add some depth without it being too much. When it comes to a look like this one, I feel like black liner is a must, so we're gonna go ahead and add some liner to the waterline. This is gonna be the L'Oreal Infallible Grip, and this is their black. It has a 36-hour wear. I think I want to add a little more liner at the top though. And for me, the eyes aren't complete without some falsies, so I'm gonna add a strip lash really quickly. All right, girl, the lashes are on. I added some mascara at the top to blend the falsies with the realsies. I'm gonna go in with the new Maybelline Colossal Bubble Mascara to intensify my lower lashes. That way everything kind of like looks good and blended together. You want the eyes to kind of make sense. So if we skip on the mascara at the bottom, it's gonna look a little wonky. It's gonna look like we forgot something. So we're making it a point to add mascara at the bottom. The eyes are looking freaking fantastic, but I feel like I want to intensify it just a little bit. So I'm gonna go back in to this deeper shade here. Make sure I tap out excess, and then I'm gonna focus that on the crease. I love when an eyeshadow not only is affordable, but the blend is easy. If you have to put in effort, fine, but it's always better when you don't have to. I'm avoiding the glitter because the glitter has stuck. If you look at my skin, it's not shifting, it's not moving, it's not falling anywhere. Like it literally stayed exactly where we put it, and I kind of want to keep it that way. So I'm gonna go back in, make sure that the inner corner is nice and deep and intense. Same thing on the outer corner. So at this point, I'm just kind of like tapping product on there. Same thing on the other side. All right, and I took my hair down because it was starting to annoy me, like that higher ponytail. But you guys, I think I'm happy with the eyes. I think I'm done. I don't want to do anything else. I'm very, very impressed with this palette. Girl, it's like Morphe called me out and put me in my place. Because now this is the second Morphe product in less than 30 days that I'm like, oh, it's so good. Price point, formula, and performance is freaking top notch. See, this is why I loved Morphe so many years ago, because it was just simple. Price point was a little up there, so I can appreciate that like the prices are more reasonable now. But girl, do you see how pretty and how easy that was? It was very effortless. At this point, will I be trying other Morphe products? Yes. They have these cream pots that I'm actually curious about. I might pick those up next. That is my first impression on this launch. I really want to hear you guys' thoughts, so make sure you leave me a comment below. And let me know, is this something that you were wondering whether or not they're actually really nice, worth the money, and maybe even something you should be picking up at Ulta. As always, a huge thank you to our channel members, the G Squad, an amazing group of people who have joined channel memberships that are supporting the channel at a higher level. If you're ever interested in joining, all you have to do is hit the join button below and you are good to go. And a shout out to our community spotlight, top 5 supporters that YouTube is highlighting for interacting in my videos. That means they're watching all the way through, so they're real ones. I really, really appreciate it. They're hitting the like button and commenting as we go along. Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much. And I really hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you made it all the way through, you are a real one. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye guys.